Membership of the institute. On acceptance of application by the council, the applicant's name shall be entered in the register and a certificate of membership in the appropriate form shall be issued to the applicant. Particulars of the register. Section 19 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 provides the particulars to be included in the register about every member of the institute, namely full name, date of birth, domicile, residential and professional address, date of entry of name in the register, qualifications, whether the name holds a COP, whether the member holds a COP, and any other prescribed particulars. Disabilities for the purpose of membership. Section 8 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 enumerates the circumstances under which a person is debarred from having his name entered in or borne on the register of members as follows. Number 1. If he has not attained age of 21 years at the time of his application for the entry of his name in the register of members, or if he is of unsound mind and stands so adjudged by competent court as he's like an unsound mind person, or if he is a undischarged insolvent, or if he being a discharged insolvent or has not obtained from the court a certificate stating that his insolvency was caused by misfortune without any misconduct on his part, or if he has been convicted by competent court whether within or out of India, அது without India னு எழுதிட்டாங்களா, within or out of India, without India இல்லை, so it's within or out of India, of an offence involving moral turpitude and punishable with imprisonment, or of an offence not of a technical nature committed by him in his professional capacity, unless in respect of the offence committed he has either been granted a pardon or on an application made by him in this behalf, central government has by an order in writing removed the disability, or if he has been removed from membership of the institute on being found on inquiry to have been guilty of professional or other misconduct. It may be noted that a person who has been removed from membership for a specified period shall not be entitled to have his name entered in the register until the expiry of such period. In addition, failure on the part of a person to disclose the fact that he suffers from any one of the disabilities aforementioned would constitute professional misconduct. The name of the person who is found to have been subject at any time to any of the disabilities aforementioned can be removed from register of members by the council. Type of members of the institute. Section 5 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 provides the division of members of the institute. The members shall be divided into two classes designated as associates and fellow members. Associate member, any person whose name has been entered in the register of members, shall be deemed to have become an associate of the institute and shall also be entitled to use the letters ACA after his name to indicate that he is associate member of the institute. Fellow member, the name of following types of members shall be entered into the register of members as a fellow of the institute on payment of such fees along with the application made and granted in the prescribed manner. An associate member who has been in continuous practice in India for at least 5 years, a member who has been an associate for a continuous period of not less than 5 years and who possesses such qualifications as may be prescribed by the council with a view to ensuring that his experience equivalent to the experience normally acquired as a result of continuous practice for a period of 5 years as a chartered accountant. The above mentioned member shall be entitled to use the letters FCA after his name to indicate that he is a fellow member of the institute. Removal of name from the register. As per section 20 of the Act, council may remove from the register the name of any member of the institute in the following cases: who is dead, from whom a request has been received to that effect, or who has not paid any prescribed fee required to be paid by him, or who is found to have been subject at the time when his name was entered in the ROM, or who at any time thereafter has become subject to any of the disabilities mentioned in section 8, or who for any reason has ceased to be entitled to have his name borne on the register. The council shall remove the name of any member from the register in respect of whom an order has been passed under this act removing him from the membership of the institute. If the name of any member has been removed from the register for non-payment of prescribed fee as required to be paid by him, then on receipt of such application, his name may be entered again in the register of members on payment of the arrears of annual fee and entrance fee along with such additional fee as may be required by the council. Restoration of membership. In addition to the provisions of Section 20 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, Regulation 19 of the Chartered Accountants Regulation 1988 states that the name of the member may be restored by the council in the register on an application in the appropriate form received in this behalf, whose name has been removed from the register for non-payment of prescribed fee as required to be paid by him, if he is otherwise eligible to such membership, on his paying the arrears of annual membership fee, entrance fee and additional fee determined by the council under the Act. However, the effective date in case of restoration of cancelled membership in different situations shall be in the following manner. Case number 1, application for restoration and the requisite fee are made within the same year of removal. Restoration shall be with effect from the date on which it was removed from the register. Second case, the removal of name under the orders of the Board of Discipline or Disciplinary Committee or the Appellate Authority or the High Court. Restoration shall be in accordance with such order. In other cases, restoration shall be with effect from the date on which the application and fee are received. And then penalty for falsely claiming to be member. Section 24 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 provides that any person who, not being a member of the institute, represents that he is a member of the institute or uses the designation chartered accountant, or being a member of the institute but not having a certificate of practice, represent that he is in practice or he practices as a chartered accountant, then he shall be punishable on first conviction with the fine which may extend to ₹1,000, and on any subsequent conviction with the imprisonment which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which may extend to 5,000, or with both. The provision may be understood with a case where the Court of Additional Chief Judicial Magistrate had by its judgment found the accused guilty under Section 24 subsection I subclause A and B of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 and Section 465 of the Indian Penal Code. The court imposed a fine on the accused, and in the event of his failure to pay the fine, sentenced to rigorous imprisonment for 3 months. Case of Prem Batra, decided on 18th July 1989. Chartered Accountants in practice. Next heading. A practicing chartered accountant is a person who is a member of the institute and is holding certificate of practice, and includes such members of the institute who are deemed to be in practice in accordance with the provisions of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. Significance of this certificate of practice. Section 6 of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 provides that no member of the institute shall be entitled to practice whether in India or elsewhere unless he has obtained from the council a certificate of practice. It may be noted that this provision is not applicable to any person who immediately before the commencement of this act has been in practice as a registered accountant or a holder of registered certificate until 1 month has lapsed from the date of the first meeting of the council. Every such member shall pay such annual fee for his certificate as may be determined by notification by the council, and such fee shall be payable on or before the first day of April each year. The certificate of practice obtained under subsection 1 may be cancelled by the council under such circumstances as may be prescribed. A person who is not in practice is precluded from accepting engagement to render services of any of the types normally prescribed for chartered accountant, even though for doing so he doesn't require special qualifications. The council of the institute is of view that once the person concerned becomes a member of the institute, he is bound by the provisions of CA Act and its regulations. If and when he appears before the income tax tribunal as an income tax representative also, after having become a member of the institute, he could do so appear only in his capacity as CA and a member of the institute, having as it were brought himself within the jurisdiction of CA Act and its regulation. He could not set them at naught by contending that even though he continues to be a member of the institute and has been punished by suspension from practicing as a member, he would be entitled in substance to practice in some other capacity. No, adala sellave selladantanga. A member of the institute can have no other capacity in which he can take up such practice separable from his capacity to practice as a member of the institute. Therefore, in a nutshell, a CA whose name has been removed from a membership for professional and other misconduct during such period of removal will not appear before the various tax authorities or other bodies before whom he could have appeared in his capacity as a member of the institute. Illustration 1. A chartered accountant in practice has been suspended from practice for a period of 6 months and he has surrendered a certificate of practice for the said period. During the said period of suspension, though the member did not undertake any audit assignments, he undertook representation assignments for income tax, whereby he would appear before the income tax authorities in his capacity as a chartered accountant. Is it okay? Solution. A chartered accountant not holding certificate of practice cannot take up any other work because it would be in violation of the relevant provisions of the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. In case a member is suspended and he is not holding COP, he cannot in any other capacity take up any practice separable from his capacity to practice as a member of the institute. This is because once a person becomes a member of the institute, he is bound by the provisions of the CA Act 1949 and its regulations. If he appears before the income tax authorities, he is only doing so in his capacity as a CA and a member of the institute. Having bound himself by the said act and its regulations made thereunder, he cannot then set the regulations at naught by contending that even though he continues to be member and has been punished by suspension, he would be entitled to practice in some other capacity. No, that is not sellad. Okay. Conclusion, thus in the instant case, a CA would not be allowed to represent himself before the income tax authorities for the period that he remains suspended. Accordingly, in the present case, he is guilty of professional misconduct. Cancellation and restoration of certificate of practice. Regulation 10 provides that a COP shall be liable for cancellation if the name of the holder of the certificate is removed from the register, or the council is satisfied after giving an opportunity of being heard to the person concerned that such certificate was issued on the basis of incorrect, misleading or false information, or by mistake or inadvertence, or a member has ceased to practice, or a member has not paid annual fee for certificate of practice till 30th day of September of the relevant year. Where a COP is cancelled, the holder shall surrender the same to the secretary. Further, Regulation 11 on the restoration COP states that on an application made in the approved format and on payment of such fee, the council may restore the COP with effect from the date on which it was cancelled to a member whose certificate has been cancelled due to non-payment of the annual fee for COP and whose application complete in all respect together with the fee is received by the secretary before the expiry of the relevant year. Next heading, members deemed to be in practice. Every member of the institute is entitled to designate himself as CA. There are two classes of members, those who are in practice and those who are otherwise occupied. In section 2, subsection 2 of the Act, the term deemed to be in practice has been defined as follows. A member of the institute shall be deemed to be in practice when individually or in partnership with CAs in practice or in partnership with members of such other recognized professions as may be prescribed. He, in consideration of remuneration received or to be received, engages himself in the practice of accountancy or offers to perform service involving the auditing or verification of financial transactions, books of accounts, records, or the preparation, verification, certification of financial accounting and related statements, or holds himself out to the public as an accountant, or renders professional services or assistance in or about matters of principle or detail relating to accounting procedure or the recording, presentation or certification of financial facts or data, or renders such other services the opinion of the council or may be rendered by a CA in practice, and the words to be in practice with the grammatical variations and cognate expressions shall be construed accordingly. Explanation: an associate or a fellow of the institute who is a salaried employee of a chartered accountant in practice or a firm of such chartered accountants or firm consisting of one or more chartered accountants and members of any other professional body having prescribed qualification shall, notwithstanding such employment, be deemed to be in practice for the limited purpose of the training of articled assistants. Pursuant to section 2 as mentioned above, the council has passed a resolution permitting a CA in practice to render entire range of MCS, that is management, consultancy and other services. The expression management, consultancy and other services shall not include the function of statutory or periodical audit, tax representation or advice concerning tax matters, or acting as a liquidator, trustee, executor, administrator, arbitrator or receiver, but shall include the following. So kizha they have given 18 items which can be included under management consultancy. So in the brown box you can do financial management planning and financial policy determination, capital structure planning, working capital management, preparing project reports and feasibility studies, preparing cash budget, cash flow statements, preparing cash budget. Wait a second. Yeah, okay. preparing cash budget, cash flow statements, profitability statements, statements of sources and application of fund, budgeting, inventory management, market research, price fixation, and other management decision making, management accounting systems, cost control and value analysis, control methods and management information and reporting, personnel recruitment and selection, setting up executive incentive plans, wage incentive plans, etc. Management and operational audits, valuation of shares and business, and advice regarding amalgamation, merger and acquisition, acting as registered valuer under Companies Act 2013, read with the company's registered values and valuation rules incorporated pursuant to the decision of council at its 388th meeting. Business policy, corporate planning, organization development, growth and diversification, organization structure and behavior, development of human resources including design and conduct of training programs, work, study, job description, job evaluation and evaluation of workloads, system analysis and design and computer related services, including selection of hardware and development of software in all areas of service which can otherwise be rendered by CA in practice, and also to carry out any other professional services relating to EDP, acting as advisor or consultant to an issue, including such matters as, and the list is இன்னும் நிறைய increase ஆகுது. Acting as advisor or consultant to an issue, including matters such as drafting a prospectus and memorandum containing salient features of prospectus, drafting and filing of listing agreement and completing formalities with stock exchanges, registrar of companies and SEBI, preparation of publicity budget, advice regarding arrangements for selection of ad media, centers for holding conference of brokers, investors, etc., bankers to issue, collection center, brokers to issue, underwriters and underwriting arrangements, distribution of publicity and issue material including application form, prospectus and brochure, and deciding on the quantum of issue material. In doing so, the relevant provisions of the Code of Ethics must be kept in mind. Advice regarding selection of various agencies connected with issue, namely registrars to issue, printers and advertising agencies. Advice on the post-issue activities and investment counseling, acting as registrar, quality audit, environment audit, energy audit, acting as recovery consultant in the banking sector, insurance, financial advisory services, acting as insolvency professional in terms of insolvency and bankruptcy code, administrative services involving assisting the clients with their routine or mechanical task within the normal course of operations. Such services require little to no professional judgment and are clerical in nature. Example of administrative services include word processing, preparing administrative statutory forms for client approval, submitting such forms as instructed by the client, monitoring the statutory filing dates and advising an audit client of those dates. The functions of GST practitioner as specified under the rule of GST, central GST rules furnish the details of outward and inward supplies, furnish the monthly, quarterly, annual, final return, make deposit for credit into the electronic cash ledger, file a claim for refund, file an application for amendment or cancellation of registration, furnish the information for generation of e-way bill, furnish the details of challan in form GST ITC not 4, file an application for amendment or cancellation of enrollment under Rule 58, and file an intimation to pay tax under the composition scheme or withdraw from the said scheme. So, pursuant to the CA Act and Regulation 191 of the CA Regulations 1988, a member shall be deemed to be in practice if he in his professional capacity and neither in his personal capacity nor in his capacity as an employee acts as a liquidator, trustee, executor, administrator, arbitrator, receiver, advisor or representative for costing, financial or taxation matters, or takes up an appointment made by the central government or a state government or a court of law or any other legal authority, or acts as a secretary unless his employment is on salary cum full-time basis. It is necessary to note that a person is deemed to be in practice not only when he is actually engaged in the practice of accountancy, but also when he offers to render accounting services whether or not he in fact does so. In other words, the act of setting up of an establishment offering to perform accounting services would tantamount to being in practice even though no client has been served. It may also be noted that a member of the institute is deemed to be in practice during the period he renders service with armed forces. The above provisions need to be correlated with the provisions of Section 144 of the Companies Act 2013, which prohibits an auditor of the company from rendering certain services directly or indirectly to the company or its holding company or its subsidiary company. Section 144 of the Companies Act prescribes certain services not to be rendered by the auditor. An auditor appointed under this Act shall provide to the company only such other services as approved by the board or audit committee as the case may be, but which shall not include any of the following services, namely accounting, bookkeeping, internal audit, design and implementation of any financial information system, actuarial services, investment advisory services, investment banking services, rendering of outsourced financial services, management services, and any other kind of services as may be prescribed. Okay, so from illustration 2 we'll see in the next episode. Thank you so much. Have a great day.